On this episode of Project Audi, we discover really bizarre screws. Welcome back to Plays with Cars. We're here with Dose, the second Project Audi. This one is the 2005? No, 6. This one's a 6, right?
6.
2006 Audi A4 Quattro. This is the 2-liter one instead of the 1.8. We're finally giving it the maintenance it needs. It was yelling at us for an oil change and a service, and it was getting low, and the fancy dashboards in these tell you that, so we are going to take care of that and maybe do an air filter and a cabin filter too. We already did the plugs on this. They were super easy. First things first, we're trying to get this under tray off. We have no idea what we're doing with this thing. We're just assuming you got to get it off to get to the oil filter because we don't see any other way to access it. And it's got these funky little easy, like, quarter turn screws. These are almost like a Zuzz fastener for race cars that only do a quarter turn. But these do, like, I think 1 turn or 1 1/4 turns. They're kind of neat though. Way better than the plastic clips on the Mazda, I can say that. Okay, let's see. This thing should be coming. Oh, no, one more. I see one more. Oh. Aha. Make sure to capture that. Don't want to lose it. Is that all of them now? Did I get that one? Yeah, I got that one. Alright, under tray coming out. That wasn't too terribly painful. A little bit greasy. I'll have to work on that. Some gaskets and things. Alright. Here. Good luck under here. Where's the big light? Here, I'll take this light. There's the big stand-up one somewhere.
Oh.
Okay, let's take a look here. What do we got? See an engine right here. This is the front of it. Looks like we got an oil leak out of the drain plug there. Don't see any other leaks there. This front funky engine mount thing is, the rubber's starting to go on that. We'll have to do that maybe one of these days. Belt looks alright. Hoses are good. So this is the kind of thing that goes on these weird plastic coolant connector contraptions. So this is the radiator here. This is the radiator hose outlet, and it's got like a heater standpipe here and another one here, and there's the actual radiator hose. So this thing can go, this plastic can crack, and these things are like hecka expensive, and basically at some point you just do all of them. That looks really new. There's this huge stamped aluminum part here on the front. It's got an engine mount on it there, and then it also holds the sway bar mounting bracket there, and then it connects to the K-member there and the frame rail there. This is a structural part of the car. It's really interesting how clean looking that is. That's unusual. I would say that I would say that one's been replaced though. I'd say that one's been replaced too. Same thing. It's like really super new looking.
Some oil leakage coming.
Oh, from the engine mount itself? Yep.
Right through here.
Yep. So that motor mount, these motor mounts are hydraulic on these. They're filled with oil.
Oh, look. Look. Look at this right there.
B7. Oh yeah, that's the chassis code. Yeah, these are apparently a B7 chassis code. I didn't know jack squat about Audis before we bought this thing, so this is all new to me too. We got a really oily crossmember, but all this looks like it's just from that drain plug. Air conditioning compressor. This must be the oil level sending unit.
Ooh,
Super bushings look good.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
That's the first thing I pointed out.
Oh, okay.
That we got to do that front engine mount. Other than that, we're not looking too bad in here.
Oh,
Suspension piece here.
There's another oil drip right here.
The back.
I don't know if that's a big deal or not.
That could be this making it all the way back there. We'll clean all this off and then we'll monitor it and see. Otherwise, it could be a rear main seal. You can see our flywheel up in there. There's the ring gear. in that little window. You see that in the little window? Whoop. Inside these little windows here, you'll see the ring gear that the starter engages to. Yeah. Yeah. All in all, not looking bad under here at all. Looks like we got original shocks and springs in the suspension. CV boots look good on the outers at least. No problems with the control arms or ball joints, they all look good. You gotta kind of like wiggle and stuff too, but at least on first look, so that side's good. Let's go check the other side. Everybody do the awkward garage scooch. Okay, yeah, that outer boot is good too. These nice forged aluminum control arms. You see how they got multiple arms so that you've got a different steering axis compared to your axes on your suspension itself.
This boot looks like it could be new.
No, maybe.
Sure doesn't look 10 years old.
Well, it all looks in good shape. Cool. All right, well, let's get this oil coming out. Let's start with that. Oh, God, they really bury that thing in there. That is not a lot of oil.
I had to put a quart in today.
Look at how it's like... Ooh.
Yeah, it's gross. It needs an oil change. Look how thick that is. It's like
This was
a
so
Hershey's
far
bar.
overdue.
It's like a Hershey's bar coming out.
It's really fuel diluted. See how runny it is coming off my finger? See that? So this is a direct injected car.
I'm getting a lot of light here.
Oh, yeah, go from the back side. So watch. See how watery it looks?
Yeah.
Drippy. This is a direct injected car, so the fuel injectors are inside the combustion chamber instead of in the intake manifold, and at a much higher pressure. And they have what's called fuel dilution, which is where fuel gets into the oil past the piston rings because it's squirted at such an intense PSI. And it looks like this has like super high fuel dilution in there, and that's why we're getting this crazy looking oil. Alright, well, let's let that drain for a good long time. We'll do the air filter and stuff while it does its thing. These Phillips screws. Oh cool, they're captured. I don't have to worry about them falling out. I just gotta unscrew them. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any in the bottom or not. Doesn't look like it. There is there. Just slide.
Oh, is that screwed in right there?
Mm-hmm. It's actually not that bad.
No,
We're
it's
still
good
gonna.
now.
We'll keep this as a backup filter, I guess. Yeah, that's fairly new. They managed to pinch it a little bit, but it's okay. That's actually, when you hold it up to the, well, yeah, that's a fairly new filter. What are we talking?
So we've got a nice before and after of cleaning up. What is this piece called?
That's the under tray. It's for the aerodynamics. It gets better gas mileage. And helps protect the bottom of the motor from stuff.
Grime. Look at all that grime.
What's from the grime? From the clean.
Yeah, but to appreciate the clean, you gotta see the... Oh my god, look at how dirty that is.
Right? Yeah, and it takes more than one wipe to get it up, too.
And now we are all clean. Check that out. Let's take a peek and see how things are looking underneath. Oh. Minimal drips.
Down to just drips?
Oh yeah. About every 5 seconds or so, maybe.
Alright, well.
And why is it so important to clean all this stuff?
Well, it lets you know if you have a leak, where that leak would be, and how bad the leak is. If you leave all this stuff dirty, you'd have no idea if you've got a problem going on that's new or old or what the deal is. That's why we always clean underneath every car every time we're underneath it. And in the case of the Mustang, when it's clean when you look underneath it the second time, that means we're out of oil. Time to add some.
Hopefully this car is not the same way.
No.
I was reading that these cars do require additional oil every 1,000 or so miles.
Mm-hmm. Alright, let's get that belly pan back on this. And fast forward a couple of days. So, we've been driving the Audi around with fresh oil, but not a fresh filter after seeing all that sludge come out. Just put an oil change through it, just the oil, try to see what it will do. We just put in a bottle of Lubramali engine flush to let that go through, and also at the same time we did some CRC GDI, it's the IVD, the intake valve and turbo cleaner, because this is a GDI engine, and we feel like this thing is all carbon and coked up, so we took care of that. We totally forgot to film, sorry, but it's already done. We are now getting ready to slide underneath and take some oil out and see what we get this time. So, I'm going to take off all that under panel stuff and slide under there, and then we'll come back to the action. Alright, got that under tray off, and you remember the other day when we cleaned it all up so we could tell what was happening with the leaks? We got one little wet spot right there is all. That happened in a week's worth of driving. And this thing is a commuter, so that is a lot of driving. And underneath here, you can see we've got some weeping. At first glance, it looks like maybe from the oil pan bolt, but it looks like it's actually coming out of somewhere oil panny and coming down here. Trying to figure out where from. Okay, this side is more wet than that side. So it's streaming down the side of the oil pan there, wrapping around here and ending up at the bottom. So it's something over here on the left side of the engine. Could be residual from the oil filter housing, which is that black thingy right there. But yeah, so not too bad on the leaks at all. So let's set this up where you can see when I pop open this drain plug and see what sort of fun stuff comes out. This oil seriously makes me sad. Keep in mind this has the entire bottle of Lubermoly engine flush in it. And it's fresh oil. 4.5 liters worth.
How many engine flushes does it need?
Just one, hopefully. This is what happens when you don't follow your oil change intervals, people. Don't do that. Oil changes are cheap. Everything inside your engine is expensive. Hey, did you find a pillow? Mm-hmm. Oh, you Well, I'm inclined to just let this thing sit here and just drain as long as it wants. That was a hot mess.
Yeah, because I think it was just changed according to the sticker. At 158 is when it was due for the next one. Mm-hmm. And it's currently at 160.
Mm-hmm.
So we're only 2,000 miles overdue.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of oil change interval they had this car on, but whatever it was, either it was too long or the person wasn't following it, because this oil was grungy. Yeah, so show them what they missed. We turned off the camera to go inside and let the oil drain for a while, and a big old glop of something came out of the oil pan, and then all the oil shot all over the driveway. So now we got a bunch of cleaning up to do.
Yay. Look at all that nastiness.
Alright, I think we're all good to go. So we put the engine flush in the oil, ran it. We also had all of this apart so that we could put the GDI, the intake valve cleaner stuff from CRC in. Follow the directions on that. We drained everything. We got the big glop out. We caused that huge mess on our driveway. Yeah, I got the car back on the ground. It's full of oil. There's a new filter on it. What do you say? Are we ready to go?
Ready to go?
Go ahead and give her a start. Let's see what happens. Well, it started. Started right up. Everything good in there?
Everything's happy. Service okay, it said.
Okay, give it just a little hum. Alright. Do it again. Nice. Alright. Nothing funky coming out of the exhaust. Let me check, make sure. Not leaking, not dripping. Granted, it's got that belly pan on it, but still I don't see anything. Alright. I'm going to go take this around the block a couple times, but we're going to call that good. So, Project Audi Dose, there's Uno. Dose is finally done with the first round of maintenance. So we did an oil change, an oil flush, an oil change again to get all the gunk out of the motor. We did the intake valve cleaning system for the GDI motors because they build up carbon deposits on the intake valves because regular port injection motors, they put gas in before the intake valve, and that gas is what helps keeps the intake valve clean. GDI motors, the gas is directly injected into the combustion chamber, so the intake valves are dry. That's why they cook up with carbon. So we cleaned all that. New air filter, new oil filter, fresh oil. Checked everything out underneath. I think we're all good to go. We do have a cabin air filter still to put in this, but we'll do that later. And everything else looks alright. So we're going to go give this Italian tune around the block. It should be good to go. Update on Uno. We let the neighbors borrow it. They haven't given it back yet. It sits there, but they have the key, so I think they're going to buy it. They're in a Carfax on it. Fingers crossed.